coming out today, guys. If you grab a seat, we'll get rocking and rolling. If everybody is seated, could reach up underneath the desk. There's a bunch of gum under there, and a couple people have maybe an envelope or something taped up underneath the desk.
I got hose.
Anybody?
Just gum here.
Anybody?
That's messed up, man. That's bias. I want to talk to Andrew Bias.
Here's one. Good pick. We got another one somewhere?
Yep, way in the back, Roger.
All right, nice job, Roger. All right, can I get you guys to come up here? We're going to use that to pay you guys to lead us through stretch and flex at this meeting. So, come on up, Roger. Come on, Terry.
Roger says, "What's that?"
Roger does this every day.
Yeah, he
in
does.
His cubicle.
Right next to Jeff.
All right, so I was informed if you guys stay in between this blue tape, it'll keep you on camera. We definitely want that. And then there's a stretch and flex poster behind you. So we can rock and roll.
Was it $5, Roger? Was it $5?
Everybody gets, all right, everybody stand up.
That'll help you buy a latte. We don't know what it is.
You want me to lead? Am I supposed to lead everybody?
Yeah.
All right. First thing we're going to do is
Have it memorized.
standing extension stretch.
Oh.
Yeah, warm up.
You didn't warm up.
You don't have these now. We'll have
Can't
them
see
ahead.
it.
No.
There we go.
Okay, then we're going to do the wrist extension, just like you're meditating.
Quit hogging, let him have it. No, you're right, dude.
What's in it?
Wrist flex the other way.
Then we're going to do wrist flex. I can't say. Okay, you're going to stretch your neck. You guys do this on all your job sites, right?
Stretching, Nick.
Or if you're in the van.
Must be awful cold in here.
Only at the stoplights.
Nothing lit right side.
Okay, you do the shoulder stretch. Stretch that dry.
Nothing.
Everything except
Do the other one. Reminds me of football. And then we're going to do the
Male cheerleader.
upper back stretch. It was actually.
You were?
Nick, is that you?
Okay, the other side.
I can see it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The next one.
Back extension.
Rotation stretch.
Shoulder rotation stretch.
Slightly bend your knees, don't you read?
None of these are yoga.
No.
Knees slightly bent, dog. Come on.
Lateral rotation. Switch.
Lateral
Flexion stretch.
Twist and shout. It's a twist and shout.
Switch.
You said $2 Starbucks
Lateral stretch.
There you go.
Jammies.
Why do we have chairs on the job?
No kidding.
Alright, let me see you guys do this one.
Something like that. My left leg is okay, my right leg I got you.
That threw me off.
Half stretch.
No, I'm
Switch.
Sure it is.
Hey, Joe. You're just encouraging people to sit in the back of the classroom, man.
What are you looking at, Rob?
Great posture, Roger.
All right, thanks guys. We start each day on our job sites doing stretch and flex. Why do we do that? Craig, why do we stretch and flex every morning?
We warm up our muscles so we don't get a sudden traumatic injury.
Excellent. Warm them up, right? We're doing strenuous activities all day long, and it's good to stretch them out just like the pros do on the football field, baseball field, and we stretch out so that we're not pulling our muscles and limit that to easier, manageable muscles. This week's IFE meeting topic is your back, right? Raise your hand if you got back issues. Right? If y'all don't raise your hand, you're lying to yourself, right? We all have back issues. They'd always sore, you know, we overextend ourselves. So that's this month's topic is back. And so I've got a couple videos to show.
I'm very sorry. It's an emergency for payroll. Mr. Baker needs to handle it.
Come on.
What?
This one we call. I got hearing issues too. This video covers 5 important ways to protect your lower back. The lower back is a vulnerable area that requires special
working on some more technology for the IFE meetings to make it more enjoyable. We move boxes all day long, every day. I mean, everything can come onto a job site's in a box, right? It can range from small boxes to large boxes to pallets to entire truckloads. And that last video basically says, plan your route out. How many guys actually plan out how you're going to get things from point A to point B, from the truck to the third floor of the building? Not a couple, right? So, a lot of that I see on job sites being in the foreman position that I was in, just get it off the truck, get it up there. Don't care how you get it up there, just get it up there, right? That's my mentality. It's just get those light fixtures from here to up there. I want it done quickly, go. I have to step back and go, okay, what stairwell are we gonna use? What mechanical means are we gonna use? Are we gonna pack them up individually, or are we gonna pack them up by the whole forklift? Is there a forklift available to just fork it up to the third floor? Is there a crane available, right? Sometimes it takes a day of pre-planning of actually thinking it through, going, hey, I got a delivery at 10 o'clock next week, need to coordinate with the forklift operator or the crane operator to put a time slot in there to say that he has availability to get up there. So things you gotta think about when you're working on larger job sites. Smaller job sites, it's usually just you and another guy, if you have another guy, just yourself. So how do you move a 100-pound object when you're the only one there? Maybe you have to take it apart, take it up in pieces. Sometimes that's required when you're by yourself and you got a whole data rack that is big and bulky. You gotta take it apart and bring it upstairs. Or you have to plan ahead and get somebody else out there to help you. So Michael Jansen's gonna go over the incident review list. And we're gonna go over that real quick and keep moving forward.
Well, the list grew a little bit from last month. Here in Seattle, we actually had our first OSHA recordable other than the hit and run vehicle accident. We'll talk about that in just a second. And if you look, there's kind of an underlying theme to all these. So Albany traffic, got up in a bucket truck, opened a cobra head, wasp attack while trying to escape. He hit the controls and actually broke them off. Evidently this person freaked out a lot when a bunch of yellow jackets and something started to fly around him. So first aid, he ended up cutting his hand when he snapped all of the controls off. Pretty tough guy, I think. Let's see, first aid, standing up to grab wire ties, stepped over floor tile, tripped his toe, scraped his forearm and shin. Walking, once again, is a common occurring theme throughout the years. We're gonna skip on the special projects when that was the incident that was a recordable for the Seattle office. We're gonna go into that in a little bit more detail in a minute. While loading top heavy switchgear, dock leveler sunk unmarked hazard. This was a reported near miss. The potential for that piece of gear to tip over was extreme, and luckily it did not. Walking to the job site from the street, large rock baseball size was ejected from a passing truck and hit on the left forearm. Actually this happens far more commonly than I think people realize, is that if you've got a job site that's got a whole bunch of riprap, where they're driving a bunch of big concrete trucks in and out, is any of those rocks that are loose on the edge, if that truck is driving by and catches the edge of that rock with a tire, it'll spit it out like a slingshot. So always be aware when you're walking around on job sites with a lot of big heavy equipment operating on riprap and rocky surfaces, is that those rocks can fly out and definitely take somebody out. Driving a forklift through the warehouse, misjudged clearance, hit drywall, needed a spotter. Once again, this was an incident with no injury. Note to self, if you're gonna be out in the field and you're using a forklift, scissor lift, any kind of motorized equipment, and you're not sure about what's going on, take the time to have somebody spot for you. Organizing, moving conduit racks in the warehouse, unsecured 3-inch Schedule 80 PVC fell off and landed on the worker's foot. Those pipe racks are awesome tools to be used on job sites, but we really need to be cautious about overstacking, so that if you hit a bump or something, you end up having a piece of 3-inch rigid fall off and land on your foot, and that's gonna be a bad day. So, that's it for basically the incident list. I think really the important thing to note sprains and strains? Last month. This month, not so much. One of the reasons why we're doing back safety this time is to try to address all the sprains and strains that we saw last month. So, PowerPoint? Okay, so we're gonna go over this here really quick. Okay, so at one of our job sites, we had somebody that was working out in the field, and they were drilling holes to run wire through. And everybody see that okay? So the intent was, you can see where the hole is being drilled, and over on the right-hand side, you can see the plumbing braces that are set there. Anybody wanna venture a guess as to what the injury was?
Cut on the forearm.
Cut on the forearm, exactly. We can go to the next slide. There we go. So that's the drill that was being used. Now, anybody think there's a better idea of a tool to use instead of a drill? A hole hog. What's the advantage to a hole hog?
Better leverage.
It's got two hands, it's got two handles. When you see what ended up happening, you're gonna understand that by using that style of drill in that circumstance, as soon as that auger bit caught in the wood, it just rolled his arm right into the really, really sharp metal edge thing that he had placed his arm right next to. And so that's the kind of a recreation of as his arm rolled in, and then the very last one, and that's what it did. Legit, 4 stitches.
You could have pushed the bracket into the stud.
Thank you. That's, once again, if he had to have been in that location and done that, take a hammer and bend those things out of the way. Now, there was no reason why he could not have drilled from the opposite side. There was no obstructions over there. So, lessons. Proper tool? Probably not. Now, the way he was doing it, was that probably the fastest way for him to do it? I would guess. Proper planning. Like I say, you look at that picture, we had guys immediately went, oh yeah, he cut his arm. Out in the field, we need to make sure that we evaluate our work situations like that. Now, in the heat of battle, drill that hole and get it done. I can easily understand the tunnel vision that occurred when the worker was doing that. I think that's. What's that?
That size of auger bit, they use handles.
Yeah.
They come with handles.
They come with handles?
Yeah.
Handle was not. A lot of those actually have like the clutch assembly in them. Yeah. So, and that was actually engaged in full lock. It was not even on the point where, and I think we know why too, is that if you're drilling through with that clutch engaged, half the time you're gonna have to back, it just takes forever. So, situational awareness, I mean, doing what we need to do. This is not rocket science. It's really unfortunate that he caught himself hurt. It was a no loss time. He went immediately back to work that afternoon. We didn't put him in a position where he could stretch and hurt it, but basically that was it. Anybody have any pearls of wisdom they want to add to that? Things that are going on in the field where we have workers placing themselves in positions like that where they can be hurt? I mean, it happens all the time. Roger?
Oh yeah, so I don't know if that bit was sharp or not, but maybe that could have contributed. Cause you know, when they get dull and you're having to push a lot harder, and that could have made him not pay attention to his leverage, but so that's something to keep in mind. Don't give your guys bad bids, make sure everything's nice and sharp so that it doesn't cause injuries.
Yep. Now, kind of after the fact, found out that this worker had been counseled twice on using the proper tools to auger holes in wood. Evidently, that didn't register too well with him. What other possible injury could happen from that? Wrist, elbows. A larger tool like that very easily can sit there and sprain, twist, ligaments, a lot of bad stuff. So, right tool for the job, proper planning, and identification of the hazards involved are really, really important for all of us all the time. So as foreman, if you see somebody out in the field that is kind of overlooking some of those things, now's the time to get back on top of them and say, really, dude, you're putting yourself in a position where you can hurt yourself, don't do it that way, so. Thanks.
Trevor? All right, we got a little experiment. Need 2 volunteers. Oh, don't jump up all at once, I got 2 more cars. Come on up. Yeah.
I thought you were in the Army, Johnson, I thought you were not volunteer.
You're sure? For those of you who don't know Trevor, Trevor's our warehouse guy.
Sorry, guys.
He's got a little experiment.
It's called herniated tomato experiment. Basically to show you how to use the proper back technique, like when you're lifting, the proper lifting technique. And so, you guys both grab a tomato.
Grab a tomato.
Yes.
Nice,
And
juicy one.
what we're gonna do at first is just apply like light pressure and press down on the tomato just straight like this, like over this.
Right in the box.
Try not to break it yet, but like if it breaks, you'll see. It's basically showing you, like this is lifting something like with your back straight right here, just pressing straight down on it. So, see, pretty hard to break, right? You can do it, but yeah. And now-
You want them to break it?
Come on, Nick,
No.
break it.
I mean,
Terry,
if
you
they
might
want,
wanna take a
break
step
it.
back.
Break it. Go for it.
Not yet,
Terry.
not yet.
Oh, we got it, we got it.
Get tough, Nick.
Okay.
So yeah, one down.
Now to the side.
Hold up. Hold up. So that's basically like showing if you're lifting something with your back straight, it's gonna give you some warning when it's starting to hurt, and you'll kind of know when to stop, and it takes longer. And now what you guys are gonna do is grab that same tomato or a different tomato with the same amount of pressure and twist your hands the opposite ways this time.
Okay.
In the box.
In the box.
See how easy that breaks? It doesn't really give you a warning, just kind of goes for it. That's like your back. When you're lifting something and you're twisting with it, it's not good for your back.
That it? So Nick, how did that feel between the straight down as opposed to twisting? Which one was easier?
Twisting was a lot easier.
Right? Twisting made it less force,
Yeah.
broke open that tomato quicker, so when I pick up this box, and I do the chain, right, and I'm doing this, right?
Make my spine twist and break that much easier.
That's what we're going after, right?
Yeah, boy.
That's exactly what you're doing. Awesome.
Is that it?
That's it, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Good job, Trevor.
Wayne?
Sure did.
He doesn't know it's only a quarter.
Again, for repetition, we're up here because a lot of back issues happened this month, so that's why we're engaging this. That's why we're having the IFE. Something that's majorly happening right now. That's why we're talking about it. So, 2 volunteers.
Where's your card?
They don't give me any cards. Yeah, sure. And then with the guy right behind you, the.
That wasn't volunteer, dog.
So basically,
Good job.
Right.
Get up in between the blue tape on our camera, please.
There you go.
Between the
Smiling face.
so basically, you're on a job site. Your foreman just said, "I want all these boxes on this table. Go." How do you approach these boxes to get them up on this table? I'll let you guys.
Everybody in the back.
Curtis says,
Luke.
hey, put him up there.
Luke, go ahead and put him up on the table.
Faster.
Alright.
You want him to handle this one?
Keep live.
So technically, there was 2 boxes in there that should have been team lifted, but we just happened to just get up there and go and do it.
I didn't do it.
Where's that image again of that? So basically, you're on a job site.
a long time.
And a lot of us sometimes will go up to a box, don't know anything, we don't know what we're grabbing, we'll kick it, we'll go over there and we'll shake it a little bit, and, oh man, this is a little heavy. And then, obviously, yeah, team lift. Again, lifting, as we saw in the videos, keeping that back straight, and will help prevent that squish tomato effect.
How'd you determine that little box was too heavy for you?
I just shook it.
Took it, picked up one side of it?
Yes.
Right. What else could you do?
Like I said, kick it.
Kick it?
Push it with your foot.
All right.
Read the label.
Read the label.
50 pounds or better, 2-man lift, usually says right on it.
Now, it
So
was-
the company's policy is 50 pounds, right?
That is correct.
It wasn't anything near over 10.
Kilograms?
I'm just kidding.
And then again, too, yeah, it's company policy with 50 pounds, but do we know our workers good enough that we can say, hey, I know you got a previous back injury, actually team lift everything, or how far are we going with this? As it was said in the video, can we put it on a T-cart if we're going down to the other side of the job? Or can we have this, was this on a pallet? Could we have that pallet drove around to the other side of the building where eventually this stuff will get to go to?
I got a question. Out in the field, you did not have 45, 50 people watching you, would you have picked up that box? Honest. No, honest.
Yes, probably.
Okay, and the reason why I say that is, in these demonstrations, it's really, it's easy, right? We know that we're being watched. Out in the field, when you're not being watched, is when you can seriously hurt yourself doing that stuff. Because, I'm the angel and the devil on your shoulders kind of thing. So, I guess the lesson that I'm trying to talk to is that out in the field, if you do see something like that, don't jeopardize your own personal safety. Who in here has had a back injury? Who would wish that on their worst enemy? On their worst enemy.
That's a dumb question.
Those are the kinds of things that can impact you for the rest of your life. So making a silly mistake like that, lifting and twisting to set it up on a T-cart or something, could impact you. You're a young man. I would hate to think that you hurt your back now. 10 years from now, you'll still be paying the price for it. So.
And there's a handful of service guys in here. How many of us are working by ourselves that we don't have that extra person to call on? Myself included, that's about 4 or 5 guys.
So what do you do?
Hopefully another trade's there with us that we can
do the box.
or like I said, or take it apart. Or we have to take half of it then and another half later.
But what if you can't? What do you do?
Most time you're in a finished TI, there is no forklift.
Mechanical means whatever possible.
Yep. But if you end up in a position where you don't have people, you don't have mechanical, you don't have all those things, and it's something that needs to be done, what do?
You don't do it.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, you need to call the boss and say, I need to have somebody sent all the way down to Everett because I can't pick up a box that weighs 57 pounds. I'm just being practical here. Obviously, the policy is 50 pounds. If you get something that's 50 pounds or close, now if it's 200 pounds, oh hell no, don't do it. If you got something that you think is probably a little over 50 pounds, use your brain. Who in here has not seen 500 videos on how to lift safely? We just watched 2. So if you take all of those measures they talk about in these videos and all the classes you've been to, the odds of you hurting yourself go down tremendously. If you don't engage the brain and pick up heavy stuff that's right on the edge like that, that's when you're gonna get yourself hurt.
First thing that pops into my head, something that's over 50 pounds, is a bag of grout, bag of concrete, sandbag, right? For those that are in the O-lunge position, we're always grouting vaults when we're doing underground. What do? We grab the bag, we go with it, right? That's it's about 60 pounds. So we just gotta train ourselves to do proper lifting technique. Keep it close, elbows tucked in, put it on a T-cart, put it on a hand truck. Really simple. Protect your guys' backs, is all what we're saying. Be smart, protect your back, and not be crippled.
It goes with like service guys. We got a 2x4 trough that we gotta add to the ceiling. We're there by ourselves. Is that illegal? Can we legally grab a 2x4 and climb up a 6-foot ladder, dropping it properly? Crazy policy? Absolutely not.
Can't climb a ladder with anything in your hands anyway. Exactly.
Just real quick to go off before the managers come up. I'm gonna speak on behalf of Kenny, cause I know he's probably not gonna say anything. And if the shoe doesn't fit, don't wear it, but we got way too much material showing up mysteriously in the warehouse, being set down there, and nobody knows where it came from. Pallets of cords, boxes of connectors, fittings, just mysteriously show up on a cart. And so somebody, it may not be none of you, but somebody in this company is bringing stuff back. They're done with it, they don't need it, they're dumping it off, and Kenny doesn't even know where it came from. Two things I want to add to that. Number one, if you got returns off a project, what you really should be doing is sending that list of what you got into your PM. That PM will send that list to me, because I can get to the pricing and everything to it, know where it was bought easily. And if you're still in the project, I'll have them come out the wholesale house and pick it up off your job. Now, if you're coming in and you're making a trip anyway, or if Kenny's taking something out, if you coordinate that, that's easy. But suppliers are supposed to work for us, not us for them. Your guys' job is to build a project, put your time on the project. You got returns? If you can't get a hold of PM, get a hold of me. I'll put the list together, make it real simple for you. Don, get it picked right up off the job, right? Second thing, if you are gonna get into the warehouse, send it in with a list. Some of you guys, like on Curtis' side, you're working 4, 5, 6 jobs sometimes a week, correct? Just put the job number on it if you're gonna bring it in, and let Kenny know, or Trevor or Mike, let them know, hey, I got this right here. We'll take it from there. We're not asking you to do anything. But these PMs are valued on their profit dollars for a job, and if the only solution for us in the warehouse is to put it on the rack, and as you guys come in and cherry pick stuff for your jobs, you're gonna get material that didn't get credited back to the previous job. I mean, I don't know other way to do it, okay? So try to get, yes, sir?
What's the cut line on the return? Dollar value, $100 of material, $500 of material?
I don't care. I mean, honestly.
Where does it end up being? You don't want to return a single box of half-inch set screw connectors. You don't want to return 12 boxes.
Ideally, if the list goes to the PM, that's really not my call. That's a PM's call. I mean, if I get it, I'm going to return it. It's nothing for me to make a phone call and say job number or an email, pick it up. I get what you're saying. $200, $100.
200. I'm thinking.
But to come in and find a pallet of 10 power cords sitting on a pallet and nobody knows where they come from, that's unacceptable. That's $279 a 100-foot cord, isn't it, Kenny? 10 cords, you got $2,800 sitting there and nobody knows where it came from. So guess what? Somebody's gonna get some power cords for the next time they're asking me cords, and the guy that bought them ain't gonna get credit for his job. That'll wake somebody up real quick, right? Second thing, we stage stuff for you. He stages stuff for you in the warehouse. You might have a box that has a PM, Aaron Bichot, job number, sitting up on the rack. It disappears. You came in and got it because you know you're working on a job. Aaron says, come get it, whatever. You still got to go through Kenny. He's got a tracking on everything on those racks, guys, everything. And all of a sudden, you get to the job, you open the box, something isn't there, right? You're missing whatever, you're missing something. Now he doesn't even know it left. 2-3 days later, he ain't seen it. Now you're reordering other stuff because there was no accountability on just taking it. He's got a tough job. He's got a man down that probably won't come back, right? For a while. Help him out. Nothing should be dumped into that warehouse without somebody in the building, either your PM, him or myself, knowing it's coming back. And really, none of you guys should be returning material to the wholesale houses unless you're going there. I mean, let's be smart. If you're going there, pick something else up. Hey, I got this. But then you need to get a copy of what you dropped off and send it to your PM, and he's going to ping it to me and go, hey, Nick, keep your eyes on this. Make sure I get my credit. Because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Helping you guys be profitable on your jobs by keeping material clean, getting it priced right, getting your returns posted. That's all I got. Any questions? So whoever you are, stop it. Thanks. Ryan? $10 card?
Hmm?
$10 card?
2 cents.
Wanna be long enough yet?
You'll find
How
out.
much time do I have?
2 minutes.
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Story time with 5 minutes.
What am I supposed to cover? Executive commitment to safety? Alright, story time first though. So, long ago in a land far, far away, that's all good stories there. I was born a carpenter. Dad was a carpenter, his father before him, his father before him, my uncles all worked construction. But I'm an electrician by trade. You like the story so far, Elaine?
I was gonna say, was that back with Jesus, was carpenter too?
Well, no.
You said long.
It was no. But we are talking about back safety, and I wasn't thinking about it. I knew that was the subject today, and I wasn't thinking about it until I saw the videos. My dad worked as a carpenter superintendent on Mossy Rock Dam, Mayfield Dam, but it wasn't until he got over to Baloo Junior High School that he injured his back. And really stupid injury. If you ever watch the concrete guys pouring concrete, they'll put all their chutes on, and as they're pouring, they drop those chutes so they get shorter. Well, they were dropping the chutes up on an 8-foot wall, and they went all the way down, and Dad was going back, picking up the chutes and getting them over for the truck driver. He had a 8-foot ladder, 6-foot ladder. And he grabbed the chute, and he went to pull it off the top of that form. The form was wet, so they slid real nice. Pulled that chute off of there, and the chute was full of concrete. They hadn't cleaned out that chute. So it slid real nice, but when it got off that form, it came straight down. Drove him through the ladder, crushed his vertebrae in his back, and I grew up with a dad that went through several fusions and all kinds of issues with his back in the caveman days when they didn't do microscopic surgery. So I'm real conscious of back injuries and what it's like growing up with a dad that's injured and, the limitations that'll give, to your career. Somebody that was it last month talked about hearing injuries and hearing loss and whatnot. I thought that was really good because I drive with my window down all the time and I never thought about the fact that the wind going by could affect your hearing like that. But I know Rob rides a motorcycle, and I know motorcycle safety, they talk about wearing ear protection when you're riding motorcycles, so it makes sense, So I thought it was really informative when they shared that. But when I was a young foreman, how many guys are foremen in this room? Yeah, any apprentices in here? No apprentices, sometimes we get apprentices. So I was on a job, it was a remodel job up on the hill in Tacoma, on the tribal land, Roosevelt Elementary School. And there was a couple of stairwells that they were preserving because they were, I don't know what they were historical monuments. One of them they actually turned into a time capsule. But the first day when I pulled out onto this job site, they had a big auger truck out there and they're drilling a hole in the ground for the elevator shaft. They were putting a big, 2-foot diameter corrugated pipe in the ground, and that's where the hydraulic shaft was gonna go. This was the first thing they were doing. They surrounded it with pea gravel and they buried it, right? When they got done that day, that corrugated pipe was sticking up out of the ground probably about 10 feet. And they built the building, they poured the slabs. When they poured the slab for the elevator, this is in the pit of the elevator, they cut that corrugated pipe off with a cutting torch. So now you got the pit, this round hole in the bottom where the shaft's gonna be someday, and you got these 4 walls. So as an electrician, I jumped down that pit, foreman, I was large and in charge. I jumped down that pit with probably a 4-foot ladder, and I was running surface conduit in there for the lights and the plugs. And there's this piece of plywood on the floor, this piece of 3/4 inch plywood that I'm tripping over and the ladder's hanging up on. It's just kind of videotaping, so I can't tell you how it's making me feel, but it was ticking me off and I had to work around this stupid piece of plywood. Finally, in an extremely athletic move, I picked the ladder up and with my right foot, I kicked that piece of plywood over into the corner out of my way and simultaneously put my foot down. Yeah. Went all the way down to my hip. I had a tool belt on, so that corrugated pipe didn't rip my tool belt, but it punctured all the way through and it ripped the skin all the way to the bone of my hip. I hit hard, man. It was just like there was nothing there. My foot went straight in the bottom of that pit. And I got up and I did a little damage control, made sure I wasn't dying, and finished my day off. But I'll never forget the fact that I was in such a hurry and I wasn't paying attention, and the plywood wasn't barking. It wasn't anybody else's fault but mine. But it's so easy to get in a hurry and not pay attention to the stupidest things, right? I mean, it was completely and totally my fault. So I'm supposed to talk about executive management's commitment to safety. I have not prepared a single thing, but I'm wondering what that looks like to you all. What does it look like to you that Curtis, myself, Roy, Jeff Salter, Ryan Pontius are committed to safety. I designed this to be interactive. What does that look like? Anybody?
We're here.
You're here? Yeah, so,
You were talking about it.
yeah? How many, yeah, Mike?
I was just gonna say, like, our discussion earlier, when it, all of a sudden something does take another guy to show up to help us move something so heavy or whatnot, that management understands, hey, sorry, you're adding a second guy to that job that you only probably planned to maybe have one guy do. But that management's commitment to safety.
They're supporting that.
They understand that.
Yeah.
They're back.
Yeah, cause what I don't wanna do is sit here for 5 minutes and tell you, we're committed to safety. We told you that, you know that. What does that look like? How many of you had a management member on your job site in the last month? Show hands? Show hands. Seriously? Raise it really high. Raise it really high. 4 people are raising their hands that's had a management position on the job. How about if you included a project manager?
In the last
Keep them
month.
up, keep them up. Project manager or an executive manager on your job site.
Rutherford, your hand don't count, man.
Yeah? So most of you.
I'm
right?
not on a big job to have.
You guys are living together.
So, when those guys were out to your job site, Joel, you can be honest here, cause I've been on Joel's job site almost once a week for the last month or so. Do you have them sign your precast plans? I know I did not sign Joel's last time I was there, and that's being videotaped. But I know I didn't sign it. We went out there and walked the job and talked a little bit, and, yeah, didn't sign it. He didn't make me, but I didn't insist upon it either. Dan's job, his is hanging on the trailer when I go in there. I can sign that, I can review it, and I usually do. But what does it look like to you that management is committed to safety? Cause that's one thing I thought of, was that when we show up to your job site, we actually are enforcing the very things that we're telling you that you need to be doing. Cause if we're not enforcing that, I'm being a hypocrite. What does it look like to you that management is committed to safety?
Are you asking what management can do better?
Okay.
I'm just trying to clarify your question.
Yeah. Yeah. Pandora's box, I guess I'm opening that up. What is it, yeah, what can we do better? What does it look, because we're telling you guys to do all this stuff, but are we reinforcing it? Are we supporting you when you say, hey, I need somebody to help me lift this? Mr. Kibbe?
I feel 100% supported already from management, so if I have any issues, I call Mike. If I have any issues that maybe I don't wanna get Mike involved in just yet, my PM gets back to me every time, or Chuck gets back to me. I've never even had to take it to Curtis's level as far as for managing any kind of safety issues.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're already supported pretty good on tech systems, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, you're getting it from a layer below Curtis, right? I can tell you Curtis is committed to safety. I sit in meetings with him. I know that he is, but you've got support between Curtis and.
Yeah, I don't even have to touch Curtis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I feel EC does a good job on supporting safety within the company. So,
Yeah. Good.
from my perspective.
Yeah, Rob?
Well, yeah, part of that same thing, but, just everything Mike does in the meetings we have, that all comes from the top, pretty much. If the top, if management didn't support that, then they wouldn't be doing it. And plus, I mean, we have access to every safety piece of equipment available. Back when I was in the field, we were lucky, we had to buy our own gloves. We didn't have, a lot of the stuff these guys have now, so, I think that's a big part of it, is all the equipment, access to the safety stuff.
Yeah, making sure all the resources are available that you need, right?
Well, having a safety place right over here online is, that's a big one there.
Yeah. I don't know, I just don't wanna sit up here and, do the Charlie Brown school teacher thing and tell you that we're committed to safety. I'd rather hear you guys tell us what that looks like. Cause I feel like when we hit your job sites, we need to demonstrate that.
Well, Mike's had to spend what, where you at, Mike?
I'd bet you're.
3 or 4 days with me out there, every time we dig around something hot.
Yeah.
And I mean, his whole day's out there. So, when he's not sitting on 405.
Yeah, cause we are committed to management team, we are committed to safety. Sometimes we're so stinking busy, you know, it may not appear to you guys that that's the case, but we are. I'd like to think that I demonstrate that every day, but, now's a good time. If there's something we should be doing better or different, Curtis, you can weigh in any time if you want to. But I know Curtis is committed to safety. You know, we've worked hard over the last few years to take care of our safety results and all that stuff that we track every month, right? I was on James isn't here today, but I was on James' job a week ago, and there was a young guy, about Trevor's age. He's over there running a chop saw, and he's cutting metal studs. You guys all know what that sounds like? And I watched him from a distance, and I'm trying to see if he's got ear protection in. This was right after the whole ear protection thing. And I'm looking to see if he's got ear protection. He's got no ear protection. So I'm wearing decent clothes. I got a nice white hard hat on. He doesn't know who I am. I walked over and asked him, "Do you got hearing protection?" Yeah. He's kind of doing this kind of number, like, "Where's it at?" And I said, here, use mine. You're gonna be deaf by the time you're 50 if you keep doing this. But it's just little things like that. You guys have all seen the pitfalls on the job sites walking around. You guys see it every day. You know, do you stop and take the time to tell even some other trade that, hey, you're doing something that's not really healthy for you? I think oftentimes that's probably the best thing we can do. You know, as foreman, when you tell the guys to go pick up all the boxes and put them in the back of the trailer, that guy shouldn't have to come back to you and say, hey, there's something in there that weighs more than 50 pounds. You just gave him direction to go pick it up. You should know what you have him moving, and you should tell him, you know, if he's gonna need help or not. That's on the foreman. It's not always on the guy in the field. Granted, the guy in the field, but how the heck's he gonna know that box weighs 50 pounds? I'd have done just what Curtis did. I'd have picked it up and put it on the table. But if you know someone needs help moving something, it's your responsibility to make sure they have that help. And as project managers, as project executives, if we send you out there to do a job, and we know it's gonna be a two-man job, there's a safety risk, it's our responsibility to get out in front of that more than a couple of days, so that Don's not out there saying, well, they sent me out here to do this today, I don't have all the stuff, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because he's there doing it. We had an injury a couple years ago, Mike, where a guy got hurt on a ladder. He was drilling, I think, with a whole hog and spun, and I can't remember if it flipped him off the ladder or what happened. But he was doing it because the foreman had ordered a man lift, but it wasn't there yet. So rather than waiting for the man lift to get there, he went ahead and started it anyway, and he ended up getting hurt working on this ladder. Do you remember that incident?
I do.
I can't remember how serious it was. I think he broke his wrist or something. Yeah. But just a little bit of planning, you know, would have alleviated that. Something, Curtis?
You know, one thing that keeps rearing its head, because it's been a tough thing for me, but especially since the car allowance program went into effect a year ago, and the talking on the cell phone sort of seemed to quiet itself over time. You used to hear it all the time.
Yeah.
I've struggled with that for years, and I've had a couple of close calls. Not recently, but I've had them, and you settle down, and then before you know it, you're talking again on your phone. And I gotta say, I've seen about 5 different EC vehicles in the last 2 months talking on the phone. And I have talked on the phone in the last 2 months. And that is just probably one of the worst things you can do, because it only takes a split second to get yourself in trouble or get hurt. So I just wanted to bring that up again, especially all of us that are on the car allowance program. We're not driving company rigs, so that may have relaxed a little bit, but I struggle with it every day. It's just an impulse, and I don't even know why I do it.
It's because we're so busy and we're trying to capture every minute we can throughout the day.
Probably.
It's still policy, right? No electronic devices will operate in company vehicle?
Yeah, I haven't heard that there would be any change with the car allowance program. There's been no change to that policy.
Yeah, it's good to bring it up.
It's probably a 24/7 thing though, no matter where you are, who you are, what you're doing, whether you're working, you're on the clock or off the clock.
Isn't it illegal?
It's a law.
And it's illegal now,
It's a state law.
but they are contested.
I have a question. What about if we have, or if we were able to have the radios installed in the rigs that you don't even have to touch?
Bluetooth capability?
Where you can talk to the radio, you don't touch the phone.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have that in my truck, and I'll tell you, you're just as distracted.
Still a distraction.
Yeah. You're right, it's hands-free, you got both hands on the wheel, but you're still just as distracted. It's not the same as listening to the radio. I mean, your brain engages differently, mine does anyway. You know, I'm talking to somebody and I'm thinking about that conversation, and thing you know, I'm going through a stop sign because I wasn't paying attention.
No, it was just a thought.
Yeah.
Terrible thought.
Anything else? I mean, I guess if there's a message here, I want you guys to understand that we're committed to safety. I mean, you've heard that a million times, but our actions should reflect it, right? I guess that's the message. Our actions should reflect it. If it ever, and I bet Curtis would support this, if it ever seems like our actions are not supporting it, come in my office and close the door. Tell me that. I'm not too big to hear that. If you think that we're not supporting you right, or maybe some action we took wasn't proper, come tell us. We'll square that away.
Last thing, since you've been talking about Curtis a couple times, you guys saw him throw that box up there, but what you don't realize about Curtis is he is an expert on balance and weight distribution. Cause he's been watching Tom Brady drop bombs in off his back leg for what, how many years now, Curtis?
Thanks for bringing that up, Nick. That's very helpful.
Appreciate that, Nick.
All right.
Now we all know you're a pain.